Is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Saturday, April 6th. 26-year-old Jordan Tackett of Floyd County went missing February 20th. Thursday afternoon, police found his body buried in the yard of another Floyd County man, Wesley Martin. Martin has been arrested and charged with Tackett's murder. WYMT's Justin Case went to Floyd County to learn more about the investigation.
Police say Jordan Tackett's body was found in this shallow grave, about 3 feet deep and only about 10 to 12 feet away from Wesley Martin's home.
The information they had was solid. We were confident in the information. That's why we sought the search warrant. And of course, discovering the body exactly where we thought we would find it confirms that the information we had was accurate.
Tackett's body was found in the Wayland community of Floyd County. People living in the neighborhood say because of the drug problem here, they sometimes fear for their safety.
Yeah, because all the drugs and stuff around, it's a dangerous neighborhood. One part of the neighborhood, is a little bit wild, but it's like you said, it's everywhere, drugs.
Investigators would not give much information as to how they believe Martin killed Tackett or why. They say a search warrant at the home led them to significant evidence.
That was not the only evidence gathered there at the scene. There's substantially more evidence that will support the murder charge besides just the discovery of the body in his yard.
We could not reach Tackett's family once police confirmed he was the one who was found dead, but the county attorney says at this point all investigators can do is make sure they receive justice.
All the condolences and all the prayers and best wishes in the world go out to Mr. Tackett's family. But I think that if they were asked, they would say at this point, seeking an appropriate measure of justice is the most important thing.
Hoping for a better ending for a family who had been searching for a loved one.
Wesley Martin is being held on a $2 million bond. He's also charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and defacing a firearm. He will have a preliminary hearing on April 15th in Floyd County District Court. And now let's check in with meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at your forecast this morning. Paige, it was pretty warm out there already.
Yeah, it is already pretty warm. We're going to see those temperatures even warmer as we head into today. We're dealing with those mostly cloudy skies this morning, and really that's what's kept us warm throughout the overnight hours, and we're seeing much of the same story as we look at our Stonecrest cam over into Prestonsburg. But hopefully we'll see those clouds clear out pretty quickly. As you'll notice your satellite and radar, there's those clouds have been sticking around throughout the overnight hours, but we should see those partly cloudy skies by the time we get into the afternoon hours. Now temperatures, they're pretty comfortable, like Taylor was saying, those low to mid 50s across our area, so really might need the light jacket in the morning, but you'll definitely be able to shed it throughout the day as we're going to continue to see those above average temperatures as we head into the next couple of days. I do promise that sunshine will return today, but it'll quickly go away as showers and storms are expected for your Sunday. We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Taylor.
All right, thank you, Paige. Yesterday, we learned James Ronnie McIntosh's attorney is building a stand-your-ground defense. He's charged with murder. Police say he shot Danny Mullins multiple times here in Perry County. In an email to our newsroom, McIntosh's attorney sent us a motion he filed yesterday requesting the dismissal of the indictment. In that court document, the attorney claims Mullins sent threatening text messages prior to the shooting, threatening to kill McIntosh. They also claim Mullins went to pull out a gun, attempting to paint Mullins as the aggressor. And a man died at the hospital in Pineville after crashing his vehicle into a rock wall. Police say 33-year-old James Hatfield crashed his car between mile markers 14 and 15 on U.S. Highway 25 East, right before the Pineville city limits. Officers say there were several witnesses at the time of the crash.
He impacted a rock wall on the grass shoulder. At that point, his vehicle began to overturn. It overturned numerous times.
Hatfield was sent to the Kentucky State Medical Examiner's office. An autopsy will be performed this morning. Also in Johnson County, Paul LeMay was back in court yesterday morning. LeMay was accused of murdering his wife, Mandy LeMay, back in 2018. He was indicted on charges of murder and abuse of a corpse. The coroner says his wife was dead in their home for weeks before being found. A new court date has not been set because they're waiting to see if LeMay is competent to stand trial. Close to a year later, a Johnson County man accused of shooting Mike Jones is still waiting for trial. Walter Lee Curtis appeared in court yesterday to hear when his next court date will be. In August of 2018, Curtis was indicted and charged with manslaughter. Curtis allegedly shot Mike Jones. Curtis is currently on house arrest, and the family of Jones says they want to see him behind bars instead.
It makes me feel distraught. It makes me feel empty inside. And, you know, my brother can't speak for himself, of course, you know, since his life was taken. I just want him to pay for, I want justice for my brother.
A pre-trial hearing for Curtis is set for May 3rd at 11 a.m. People in southern Kentucky are expressing shock and outrage over a father accused of killing his own son. Friday night, that father, Vaughn Brock, answered to charges of murder and arson from a fire that took the life of his son, who was just 23 months old. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the case as it begins to go through the court system.
People on Reams Lane are still struggling to come to grips with what they saw and heard early Saturday morning.
I mean, I could hear that baby screaming to the top of his lungs, as clear as I'm talking to you right now.
1-year-old Joseph Cash Brock was found dead inside the home. Police say he was found in a washing machine. Court records also state that his father, Vaughn Brock, said he fell asleep while smoking a joint and awoke to the trailer filled with smoke.
At first he come out and he was like groggy looking, and he had come out and then tried to go back in. Well, he couldn't make it in because the flames were too hot.
The neighbors say the 26-year-old father then ran away and was found several days later at a home in Keavy. Kentucky State Police say they are still investigating this, and they say they are still waiting on autopsy results before they can say exactly what the child died of.
Do you understand your rights and charges?
Yes, sir.
Brock was appointed a public defender Friday morning who entered a not guilty plea on the murder and arson charges.
Just the thought of knowing that he did this on purpose destroys me.
Vaughn Brock remains in jail on a $500,000 bond. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Vaughn Brock will be back in court on Tuesday for a preliminary hearing. And yesterday, a Knox County murder suspect appeared back in court. A judge set Philip Lee Lewis's next court date for June 7th. Police say Lewis killed 25-year-old Gary Medlin during an attempted robbery at a convenience store. Following his arrest, Lewis told us from jail someone framed him. He's still behind bars on a $1 million cash bond. And the FBI has filed charges against an Ohio man who claimed to be a missing boy from Illinois. The 23-year-old suspect reportedly said he was Timothy Pitson, who disappeared 8 years ago at the age of 6. Brian Rainey is charged with lying to an FBI agent about his true identity. They positively identified him through a DNA testing. Pitson went missing in Illinois. His mother was found days later dead in a hotel of an apparent suicide.
Then law enforcement confronted him with the DNA results, and at that point, the person immediately stated that he was not Timothy Pitson.
From Ohio Corrections records, we learned Rainey has a lengthy rap sheet, including past charges over false statements. He served more than a year in prison for burglary and vandalism and was released less than a month ago on parole. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Kentucky native is set to make a big splash at the Academy of Country Music Awards this weekend. We'll tell you who coming up next. And later in sports, the road for a national championship ends in Minnesota Monday. But first 4 teams will battle for a spot in that game later this evening.
And sunshine returns this afternoon, but showers and storms will return for your Sunday. We'll break down that full forecast next.